questions.
Yeah, thank you. Just first got to say, and you got to humble yourself and say what a great job by James Madison, Coach Chesney, staff, players. Certainly played championship football, especially in the second half, to finish the job and finish with their 11th straight and win the Sun Belt. So tip of the hat to them. They outplayed us tonight. To our guys, what an unbelievable effort that was made by staff and all of our players, put us in a position to win a football game. We knew it had to be a specific style of game. We knew it had to be a particular way and stay low 20s, high teens, hopefully, to win the football game the way we needed to win it. We had it right there, especially with the 2 turnovers in the second half coming out of halftime, and could not capitalize, and that was the key to the game, getting no points off those 2 turnovers. That was the difference in the game. Again, credit to them, but we just did not execute well enough in special teams and offensively there in the third quarter to get the game tied or take a lead, which I thought would have been huge right there. And then it got away in the last 6 minutes after the offensive turnover. But couldn't be more proud of a group of guys that came in 2 years ago mostly and stood up to a lot of adversity and got ourselves to a point to be in the championship football game, which Troy expects to be, and proud of our guys for getting it there. There'll be a bad taste in our mouth on the way home. Our returning players, I hope, keep that taste. And to our guys that will lose, we certainly are just going to look for some momentum to move ahead to our bowl game and finish this season the right way. But I'm happy and proud of our guys. Tough loss, and we end it in humility, and we really appreciate what all has been given by players and staff. I'll take questions along with the players. Thanks.
We'll open up now for questions. For those in the room, please state your name and your media affiliation when asking your question. If you're on Zoom, type those questions in the chat, and we'll read them aloud. Sorry with you, Mike.
Yeah, Mike Barber, Associated Press. What was it about their defense with the 8 sacks that made them kind of tough to block tonight?
Well, they've been tough to block all year. I mean, their stats say so. I thought for us to get 14 points in the first half and put it where it was an unbelievable job by a very stricken offense that just got worse tonight. We lost the left tackle that we had moved out there in Eli Russ, and things changed. What happened is we got consumed by personnel issues, and they're already really good. They create a really good pass rush. They played a lot of friction and man coverage, which made it a little bit longer to get open. And when you're down, you got to throw it. And when you have to throw it too much and drop back pass and not be able to move the pocket, it gives you a sitting target, if you will. They teed off and did what great defense did and sacked us as that happened. That's how it went.
And for the players, you guys were more than 3 touchdown underdogs, and you were right in this game kind of down the stretch. What was the mood as this game stayed close? Did you feel like you had it where you wanted it?
Personally, I felt like from the beginning of the season, everybody doubted us out. The whole team never doubted us out the whole time. So everything you guys had seen, we had the confidence to put the work in, everything to do it. So everything you guys seen, like the good and the bad, like it was no surprise for us. Like we knew, the whole team knew, like no doubt in our hearts, our minds, that like we was gonna actually win, put up a fight, like regardless of who it is. Hats off to JMU. They got us. Sometimes life's come with losses. So
yeah, our whole message all year was 6%, and that's what it took to get here. And nobody would have picked us to be in this spot at the start of the year. We were ranked 6th in the West. What we did to overcome that, try to block out all the noise, all the points and all the kind of spread stuff, like it's all just motivation at the end of the day. And that's what fuels us, and that's what fueled us all year. And every single time we were doubted, we played better. And that's really just what kept us going all year.
Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt. Coach, what did you do defensively to hold a really explosive JMU offense in check?
Well, I think, Dave, we've been playing our best football here, especially the last 2 weeks on defense. I thought being able to do some same-as calls that we'd used against Southern Miss and continue some momentum in playing. I challenged our staff, clarity equals velocity. What we know allows our players to play faster. I thought we were able to use light calls and play a little bit faster. I thought we did a really nice job, especially through the third quarter, creating turnovers and stopping, controlling the run, and it just caught up to us. We missed way too many tackles down the stretch that kind of got it separated. But for the most part, I just thought we had a really good game plan. We're playing at our best right now and really played top down and aggressive, and that approach allowed those guys to play fast and play the way they did early.
Evan, Mike Barber, Associated Press again. There was a moment in the first half where you were getting ready to punt from the end zone. It looked like a snowball kind of flew right by you there. One, did you see that? Was it disruptive? And what did you think of that scene?
I mean, I saw it, but at the end of the day, I got to go out there and do my job. You know, there's a reason that I'm in this position that I am with all the awards and all that kind of stuff. Like, I got to be able to handle that and just play to my best ability.
Do you have any thoughts, Coach?
Come on, you all know what I think. That's not something you can practice. Therefore, it shouldn't be something that happens.
Any final questions out here? Go ahead, Dave.
Coach, Dave Schultz again, Locked On Sunbelt. Your players talked about it. Can you talk about the season a little bit? Because it was not only a roller coaster season within almost each and every game, but, you know, just from, you know, starting off almost 1-3 to evening up the record, you know, to losing a couple in a row and then winning a couple in a row to put yourself in this position to play for the Sunbelt Championship.
Yeah, you know, and thanks for asking it. I think at the end of this, it's a good time to say it's a bumpy road, you know, through this season. Not all the time do you get to keep and reel off 10 or 11 straight. Those are fun years. This year was hard for us. You know, we went through a lot of things. Not once did you hear me or our players use excuses for those moments. And I think that's the right way of doing it. And I think, you know, there's reasons for some of our struggles on offense and the stuff that they've been through. Defensively kept us in it. Found ways to win games close. There was a particular way we had to play this year to find a way to win games. That's my job and our jobs as coaches and players, to find ways to take each week and cut it up and put yourself in a position to win games. And for us to sit here 8-5 as Conference West champions and runner-up in this final deal is a testament to the way this team had to be. There's a lot of resilience and grittiness that is Troy football and these guys in the locker room to get us here, and I'm proud of that. Perfect, no. I hope next year's a little smoother, but if it isn't, we'll be built for it.
Yeah, I thought just, you know, culmination of a year with, you know, many different ways to win football games. Our guys did, I thought, a phenomenal job. There was close games. There was not close games. There was low-scoring games. We've had high-scoring games. We've had games that, you know, just have gone a lot of different ways. And I say it to them all the time, but, you know, it takes a full year to put a trophy in a trophy case. You don't put that trophy in a trophy case just here tonight, right? It takes that full year. And it takes everybody that touches this program to be committed to it. And the alignment, you know, in this, you know, university is extremely strong, and I think that's important. We also talk a lot about, you know, the price of anything is the amount of life you're willing to sacrifice for it. And only one team could hold up that trophy, and whatever, you know, that team will understand what that sacrifice was, but only one can know that, and that's certainly us. And I'm really proud that our guys didn't cut any corners along the way, and they understood that it was going to take what it takes, and they were willing to fight and do whatever it took to not only win this game, but all the others, and just, you know, prepare themselves to become champions.
We'll open up now for questions. Again, please state your name and your media affiliation when asking those questions.
Yeah, Bob, Mike Barber, Associated Press. This is the sixth time this year that you've had a second-half shutout, the 8 sacks. What was it about your defense that kind of tightened up as games went on?
Oh, man, they're tough. They're tough, and I think they believe, they know who they are, and they know what they're capable of. And I think it just takes, like, a lot of other situations. I always think of it as like a boxing match. You're sitting there and you're just, you know, kind of going back and forth, and maybe someone hits you with an overhand right or something, but there's a lot of body shots happening. You're just feeling each other out a little bit. But then when our guys understand what the game is, when they understand who they're playing against, when they understand their one-on-one matchup, when they understand how that other person could hurt them or not, I think it just allows them to then get into this attack mode, which they start the game with. It's just a little bit more of an educated attack mode, and I think that's what you've seen, you know, from these guys in the second half. And, you know, Colin Hisro does an unbelievable job. All of our coaches on that side of the ball are phenomenal. They take every single inch personal, and our players do too.
And then similarly, offensively, it took a little bit to get in a rhythm. Wayne's big run, how much of a, not like relief, but does that just kind of
I
get
think
everybody
relief's
going?
a fair word there, Mike. Like, I think it's a fair word. It was, you just couldn't get much going. You couldn't, we missed a couple throws. We dropped a couple passes. We just were off target, or we just didn't connect for whatever reason tonight. And so you start to try to pound it a little bit, and then that's not working, perfectly right away. And then you pop a big one, and all of a sudden you feel like you get some breathing room. But then you went back to it, and you were still just pounding that ball again and not having a lot of success and missing a couple throws here and there. I thought what really helped us was when Zoe started to pull the ball a little bit, and we got in that quarterback run game. That really started to offset it. You felt their defense, anytime the ball went into the mesh, just absolutely collapse. And as soon as Zoe pulled one or two, it loosened things up a little bit. It took me back to the Marshall game when the quarterback got a little active. It also freed up the running back a little bit more, when you had to play both of those guys in the backfield. And I thought that was a big piece of what we needed to do. I thought Wiz had a great catch too, which at that point you felt like, all right, we're going to go. And we just, the momentum died down a little bit.
Katie Harper with the Daily News Record. On Wayne's 73-yard touchdown, defenders made contact with him right at the line of scrimmage, and he still broke free, and it happened a few other times. What makes him so difficult to get on the ground?
His low center of gravity. He's strong. He is powerful. He does not go down easy. He bounces off of things more than, he falls. And I just think his, again, center of gravity, his change of direction, his body balance, his ability to take shots because he's durable and he's not just a small guy. He's, physical, he's thick, he committed to the weight room, and, leads him to where he is today. It has a lot to do with that. What's up, champ?
So,
And then your defense got after Goose Crowder today and put a lot of pressure on him, and eventually he did have to leave the game. What did you like out of the defensive line, especially like a guy like Sayer?
Well, he's just going to play this relentless style of ball. I thought they did a really good job. Some perimeter passes, then they got moving the pocket a little bit, and then they just caught the ball, opened and threw, and took their shots. It was when we were able to stay on top, or they got into some different type of concept where you had to hitch a little bit, that we got home pretty quickly. Their O-line's a little bit beat up, and then when the other, 66 went down, I think that our defensive line felt like they had a huge advantage there. Even though there were some max pro situations, they were still able to, apply that pressure and get after them. So that starts also in the secondary, them being able to stay on top early. They threw those two deep ones, just caught open and through. I thought we were in good position and just fell off at the last second. And I thought there were couple other things in there that happened defensively. The 4th and 1 pass interference, that's a tough call at that moment, to give them a little bit of life, especially when they're both going back and forth. And, you're playing one game the whole way of allowing a lot to happen downfield between both, and then all of a sudden on 4th and 1, where they take a risky play and, from backed up. That was a tough one to swallow. But our guys, just continue to battle.
We're joined now by Sunbelt Player of the Year, Alonzo Barnett III. Go ahead, David.
David Teal with the Virginian Pilot. As good as you were defensively tonight, might one of the biggest tackles of the night been made by an offensive lineman after Zoe's interception? Because he looked like he might be gone.
Oh, for sure. As soon as it got tipped and he caught it and the first tackler fell off, I was pretty sure it was going to the end zone. There was not many people left, and I think that you're exactly right. And there's the defense now to hold them. They missed the field goal, right? And we come back again and we fumble it. And then after we fumble it, we hold them again. Just think about that. You turn the ball over twice and they come away with 0 points. Hats off to the defense.
Alonzo, I don't know if you heard, I was asking Coach about kind of took the offense a little bit to get going, then Wayne pops the big one, you start finding some room to run. How did you guys kind of keep at it to get where you ultimately got to offensively?
yeah, I think just the common thing that you saw throughout the whole year was just the offensive, as a unit, staying together through the ups, through the downs. Every battle is different. Like Coach Ches says, every hunt is different, and this one just took a little bit more. It was a gutsy win, and like I said, we just didn't give up on each other.
Can you just a little bit recap your year, because you were coming off an injury. It wasn't clear if you were going to be the guy in some of the preseason stuff. What was this year like, and then to end it as the player of the year, to end it as a champion, what does that mean to you?
That's just, evidence of God's hands over my life. That's the theme of my year. God did. When you think about it, I dreamed of this. Coach Ches, a couple of days after surgery, I don't know if you remember this, I told you, I'll be back. I'll be back. And I'm sure when I reiterated that, to him and to other people in the building, they were like, okay, yeah. And they probably turned around and was like, this kid is crazy. But, shoot. God's really been faithful to me. He's extended his mercies and graces upon my life. And, I'm just blessed to be in this position.
Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt. Coach, can you talk about Alonzo Barnett III? Someone may want to obtain the movie rights from winning the job out of camp a couple years ago, losing the job, coming back here, playing really well, having injuries, and then leading his team to a championship.
Yeah, I could talk a lot about him. I think that, for him to, go through what he went through, way back in the day, and then to come back through and play a good year, and then all of a sudden the final play, of the last game of the season, regular season, to suffer the injury he suffered. Most people didn't know about it. I remember I was sitting in a press conference, and Tyler came up to me after I left the radio going over to this one, and he's like, we're pretty sure. So I said, what are you even talking about? Nobody even saw it. Nobody knew it. And, there he was in that situation and just battled every day. And he just was so committed to it and never stopped, taking care of himself and doing what everybody asked him to do. And I think that was, he had his sights set on coming back to football camp and being able to play. And I don't think anybody else thought he could do it. I don't think the doctors thought he could do it. I don't think Tyler thought he could do it, but he thought he could do it. And not only thought he could, prepared for it, and then knew he could. And, and then the rest is history.
Shane Matlin from the Daily News Record. This could be for any of the four of you, but you earned the right to play at home, and you play a game where both teams are struggling to get any kind of momentum. How much did it end up making a difference, especially maybe in the fourth quarter where you guys were able to pull away to have the home field advantage?
Well, I felt defensively it certainly helped. I thought that the pressure that we applied and just that student body, and then the whole crowd to just get after it out there. And I thought really where you really felt the shift was on Zoe's run. As he broke it back across the field, it was a dynamic run that had a couple different moves happening in there, and he cut it all the way back. And that was like a longer suspenseful play that just kept getting better and better as it went on. And you just heard the crowd getting louder and louder as that play went on until he finally put it in the paint, and all of a sudden it just erupted. That was a moment that I felt like swung a lot of this.
Joined now by Wayne Knight, Sunbelt Championship Game MVP, set the Sunbelt Championship Game record for all-purpose yards. And Sahir West, Sunbelt Freshman of the Year, set the Sunbelt Championship Game record for tackles for loss and sacks. Go ahead, Katie.
Wayne, I kind of wanted to ask about that moment at the end of the game where you're standing up on the stage and leading the fight song. I know that's something you guys do after every game, but in that moment, what was it like kind of experiencing it with the fans and the crowd around?
Yeah, I can't even explain that feeling. We practice hard, every single day, day in and day out. We just put the work in, and to be able to, be in that moment and at that time, of my life, it's just a crazy, surreal feeling.
And Sayer, for you, it felt like at times you were kind of everywhere on the field on the defensive side of the ball. What kind of went into this performance that you had today, especially as a, Freshman of the Year winner?
Yeah, first of all, I want to give thanks to Jesus Christ who put me in this position. It's just a culmination of what I've been working on, really. Just practicing hard. It's just a culture that JMU has, that Coach Chesney has brought. It's just an amazing feeling of winning with my guys, and just to see everybody rush the field, see my family just happy. It was just a great feeling, man. I don't know. It's just I asked God to help me today, to clear my mind, and when my mind is clear, I feel like I'm unstoppable. So.
Coach, you mentioned sacrifices. Hayden Homley, Bridgeworth breakdown. You mentioned sacrifices, and I got to imagine for your staff who has so many families that kind of holds true with them. And I saw Coach Hitchler kind of in tears with his family. What does this accomplishment mean for for your staff that's gone through so many sacrifices?
Yeah, I think you're dead on there. I think the players sacrifice a lot. I think the coaches probably sacrifice a whole lot more, and I think the time that they're away from their own children, their own families, and, dealing with their other children over here, right? But it's a full family. It's that is what it is, and I want my family to be around here. And it doesn't always work that way, and they don't get a chance to see you a whole lot, and they share you, quite a bit. And then in the off season, it doesn't get any easier when you're on the road recruiting and doing everything you can to, again, put a trophy in a trophy case. And that happens, starting as soon as this season is over. You start that process again. And those are the things that, I don't think everybody sees and quite understands of just how it all builds and how much really those people at home, that your immediate family that, they have to share their father, and you just don't have a chance to be around them as much. So there's quite a bit of sacrifice, and I think that it's just the name of the game. Everybody understands it, and that's what makes it so great, I think, when you're dealing with really, again, not only good football players, but great people. You don't mind being away from your family, when you also are in a situation where you have great young men on this team, and you have a chance to just continue to enrich each other's lives. I think that's very, very important, and I've been a part of other teams where you're spending time away from your family. You don't even like the people that you're in that locker room with sometimes, and that's a hard thing. So I love the way these guys came together. I love the way they helped build this team, and that makes it whole lot more pleasurable to not be around your family where you have to be here with them and just know you're with great people.
This can be for Coach or Alonzo. Obviously a frustrating game at times. Talk about the 2 turnovers. What kind of allowed you guys to keep your cool throughout the game?
Just the confidence in each other. At times I did lose my cool, and the guys they did a great job of picking me up, and I think that's just what Coach Ches talks about. Just continue to give to the guys around you. We've been in this position before. Ugly wins on the offense side of the ball, but defense wins championships, and that's what we saw today. Just the complementary football that we've been playing all year. It showed itself true today.
Preston Comer with the Breeze. Wayne, on your touchdown, for a second it looked like you might not even pick up a first down, and all of a sudden you're 73 yards down the field. Just what was going through your head in that moment? How did you get out of that just kind of cloud of players and into the end zone?
Yeah, every run play, just attack it with the same mentality. Make the first person miss, the second, the third, whoever shows up. And, at the end of the day, you just got to continue to turn your legs. And, in that play, that kind of showed up, just being able to continue to run my legs, run my feet, in contact. And, whoever showed up wasn't going to stop me in that moment. So.
Bob, knowing what's on the horizon for your career, was there a little extra emotion tonight walking on and off of that field?
Yeah. There's been a little extra emotion, this whole week. Realistically, every moment that you're spending together with these guys, you don't know, if it'll be your last or not, and where this is definitely our last on this field. And I don't know. I think that you realize just how special a place, that JMU is. And this is, to me, the greatest group of 5 school in the country, and it's not even close. And I thought standing on the stage where me and Wayne probably shared that moment, I don't think there were cameras up there or phones up there to take a picture of what we saw with our fans all around us and the confetti falling, and everybody had their phones up and taking pictures, and it was just a different, feel that I'm sure doesn't happen everywhere else. So yeah, there's a lot of emotion that comes along with it.
And what will tomorrow night look like with the ACC championship game? Do you watch it? Do you ignore it? What do you do?
We'll watch pretty late, though, so maybe we'll watch the first half, and then I'll wake up in the morning and check my phone and see what happened. No, we'll all be watching it, and I think hopefully we'll have a chance as a coaching staff to spend some time together, and just reflect on this year, because we said that today's game is not special; it's important. But when you get to this point and you actually win the game, it is special. But you can't make it bigger than it is when you're walking into it. But now, as you look back on it, certainly is special. But there's still, hopefully a little more time here left together where we can continue to do important things that eventually become even more special.
This one's for us. I hear, 5.5 tackles for loss today, but you also had the forced fumble. Talk about, getting past 2 guys there. How did that play kind of develop?
I feel like I just felt like my pass rush game had to get better at that rep. I feel like my man Xavier Holmes. It's like a competition that we had with each other. It was just like eternal competition. So I felt like I had to get there. But I don't know. It's just a real feeling when you get a sack on the field at home in a championship game, and it's just a surreal feeling. I mean, I had to swipe his hands down. I didn't even know he fumbled the ball. I looked up and Drew Spinagati got it, and it was just an amazing feeling. It was just, I don't know, surreal. Thankful for it, yeah.
Connor Bergen, WHSV. This is for Zoe and Wayne. You guys both arrived to JMU the first year joining the Sun Belt Conference. You go through the 2 years of ineligibility. You go through everything throughout this process. What does it mean for you guys tonight to be able to wear that shirt saying Sun Belt Conference champions, to be able to reach that milestone?
It means the world. Back 2-3 years ago, I never forget this. Zoe telling me this. He said it's going to be me and him. And we're going to be on this stage, and we made it happen. So just being able to, what he experienced last year, he's just a warrior, warrior mentality. It's a great time to play next to him. Just a real feeling, back from that moment, and he told me that.
Yeah, to kind of just, piggyback off that, I'm for sure that there's an extreme amount of gratitude just between the two of us. I mean, a year ago to the exact date, I'm getting surgery on my knee. And, on the same date, a year later, I'm a Sun Belt champ. So, I think there's just power in that, just, speaking positivity over your life and just fighting for everything.
Kayla Sweezy, Anscape.com. Question for you, Alonzo. So much growth over the past season coming off of an injury through adversity. How did this program support you? I know Carter was one of those guys that you went through recovery with, so what was that process like?
Yeah, just seeing guys like Carter and, Jordan Fuller. There were other people in there at the time, going through their own battles. But, just seeing those guys around and just having shared laughter, at times where they didn't know that I needed it, or maybe I didn't know that they needed it. Just being the most together team in the country, or on the offensive side of the ball is what we talk about a lot. They've supported me a lot, just through the ups, through the downs, and I think just just the continued relentlessness from the people, and especially the class of 22. Trent could talk about it, JT, a bunch of people can talk about it, but when you have people like that are great players, but even better people, that's going to set up some good things.
And Coach, how have you seen Alonzo grow over the past season?
I think we talked a little bit about it already, right? To go through all those things, really the mental game and the ability to stay the course, not get frustrated and stay the course and just continue to believe. He's one of the best at it, that just continues to believe in who he is, continue to believe in what he's about to do, studies this game. You show me any quarterback you want in the world, I don't know if one studies the game more than he does, and that leads him to these moments where he can get us into the right plays, and we ask a lot of them out there, and a lot of it rolls through him, and he's pretty special at all of that. His growth in that department is phenomenal.
John Breeden, Daily News Record. Coach, you talked about feeling some relief when Wayne was able to break free for that touchdown early. There was about 4 minutes ago when Alonzo broke free on his touchdown run. Was it kind of a similar feeling at that point to go up by 2 scores about 4 minutes ago?
Definitely. And I think that one, even like I said, was enhanced by the fans because I think they felt the same thing. And again, that run was elongated a little bit with going back and forth and eventually cutting back across the field. And he took his time getting in the finally over the stripe, but I think that's where our fans felt the same thing, and that was the moment where you felt like you could breathe for a second because you knew the defense was playing really hard at that time, and that was you felt like it was almost in hand, but you couldn't relax, but you felt like you were close.
And the players can weigh in on this question. I mean, you talked about the crowd, very strong crowd tonight. Just felt like a championship atmosphere. What was it like getting to play in this environment with these fans?
Trent?
Electric, especially for this one being my last time in Bridgeforth, man. I mean, it feels amazing going out like how we did, on top with the guys I stayed down with, for 4 years of my career. So, I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful for these fans and James Madison as a university.
Trent, kind of going off of that, you waited it out here for 4 years.
Yeah.
You waited for your moment. There were some great linebackers that were ahead of you. How does this moment kind of feel to wrap up your career at Bridgeforth, and even just yesterday having Defensive Player of the Year as well? What does that kind of mean in the culmination of your career?
It's just very full circle, just the ability to just be where your feet at. I'm blessed for the Lord gave me the ability to be where my feet at, and I always ask the Lord every day for a clear head, and I feel like that's just allowed me to make the right decisions, be around the right people, and it's about the people who you surround yourself with, So I just surrounded myself around the right community, and it takes a village. So everybody around me has been able to pour life and confidence and strength into me, and I just appreciate everyone for that.
Coach Mike again from the AP. If you could just bring some clarity, will you coach this team if they're in the college football playoffs? Would
Yes.
you coach them in a bowl game?
The bowl game we're still talking about right now, me and Matt Roan, but definitively in the college football, playoffs. And, just as you say that, the how special this team is, just think about, the distractions. And we talk about them every week, for everybody that was at the press conference week in and week out to get ranked. Now that's going to affect you. Are you going to play the same way? And they did, and then to go through all the things that they went through that I caused in there, right? And they still stayed the course. Then the college football playoff conversation, they stay the course, and then you continue to just go through everything that they've gone through. This is a very mature team that can handle almost anything. I've not been around a team that can stay as focused as they do and keep their eye on the prize. And I think there's also a mental aspect of becoming a champion that not many people talk about. Distraction's easy. These guys' focus is hard, and they've done a phenomenal job of it all year long.
And then again, for clarity, are you going to be coaching UCLA next season?
I don't know if that's officially 100% come out, but tomorrow at noon we should have a little bit more clarity on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.